Hi and welcome to the Knitting Yak. Today's guest is Julie Hoover. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
Oh,
We did
that's
it.
a beautiful light. Yes, you did it.
Yeah, it's not raining today.
Yes, it's very nice. We were afraid you're going to have a gray light, but it's nice.
Yeah, it's been downpouring and just, mud pie for a week.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Uh,
nice
it's
to
good.
have a
I'm
little
so happy.
sun. Yeah, how
Oh,
are
look at
you?
that.
How's your
Yes.
homeschool nightmare going?
Oh, we're done. Done for the day. It's
Okay.
always difficult. It's every day, sometime I try to cram a couple of days of homework in one day so that we can
Yeah,
relax for a day. But it's not easy.
yeah.
It's a lot of work. I'm just looking forward for the summer to arrive where we can just ease up and don't have to do as
Yeah.
much.
Gosh, I remember meeting Anastasia the first time she was just tootling around in diapers, and now she's
Yes,
Miss Smarty Pants.
she is. I'm very excited. I know that you
Yeah.
had some hesitation because this is your first live, your first time that you appear on an Instagram live. So I'm very honored that you've chosen us to do that.
I would do anything for you, pal.
I see people joining us from all over the world. This is so exciting.
Do you remember when we first met? Can you remember?
I think
Do you
it was
remember
at
when it was?
TNA.
Yeah. Do you even remember that first encounter at all? What's
I
your
do.
memory of that?
I remember I was with my little one. I think I had her in not even walking on the floor, and I think the what's the name from Woolfolk?
Yeah, Kristen Ford. Yeah,
Kristen Ford
yeah,
introduced us.
yeah. I hadn't even been there for 5 minutes when I ran into her, and she literally just grabbed my hand and said, "You have to meet someone." And she brought me to your booth, and there you were, complete. I just remember the look on your face. I don't know if you remember this, but at least it seemed to me you were just completely overwhelmed with how many people were there, with your first
Yeah,
time having a booth,
yeah.
how this all works. But you were very kind and let me take some yarn home with me.
Well, I do remember very well because I remember the conversation I had with Kirsten before you arrived, and Kirsten has been really kind, and she had
Yeah,
met me the year before, and she had knitted with some of our yarn,
yeah,
and she loved it. At the time, she was working for another brand, and I remember she saying, there are few designers that you need to get on board with your brand if you want to succeed. One of them is Julie Hoover. And of course, Hoover, at the time, and I had just started, I said, Julie Hoover.
yeah, exactly.
I have
The
no
the
idea.
other Julie, yeah.
Yes, and it was, and then she brought you over, which was very incredible. But at the time, I didn't really know much about anything. I didn't know anything about the business and everything
Yeah.
else.
Well, Kristen knows my taste, and she was absolutely correct to introduce us. So, yeah.
And I think what I loved. I remember because you had this from the moment that time that I met you, and the moment you start designing with a yarn. I think and that was at the time and all the way to today. What I loved about your design was the elegance. I always thought that you were this elegant, beautiful woman that would just, come in front of my booth, and I was like, wow, look at that. And I know, I remember saying to my husband, "Isn't she beautiful?"
Oh, please.
And I really, honestly, I was like, "Wow, look at that!"
Must have been a good
And
day.
your design reflect that. Your design, your
Um,
inspiration, your home, the way you are when when people meet you in person, is you. Your designs are you.
yeah,
You're not designing something so that you can sell more patterns. You're just designing yourself, something that you would wear yourself.
yeah,
And I think
yeah.
that's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think I've always had, whether I'm conscious of it or not, a sensibility to um, not, producing it just to produce it, but producing something that I'm gonna still love in 10 years.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah.
And I think you do, because I think the things that you have produced, you have to produce 10 years ago, even, you know, is
Yeah, it's been over 10 years now. So.
yeah,
and I still love
exactly.
some of my very first
Still some of
pieces.
that.
So that's a good
Somebody
sign.
says somebody says you are the Eileen Fisher of the knitting world. Oh, I love Eileen Fisher, actually.
Oh, well, I'll take that. That's a good compliment. Thanks. Maxine.
Yes. Timeless beauty. There you go. You see, another compliment. Now I just can spend an hour reading all the compliments I went through.
I'm going to start blushing. Well, thank you.
Do you want
very
to talk
kind.
about when you start? How did you start designing?
Knitwear. How did I start designing knitwear?
Yeah, unless you design something else.
Well, my whole life, my whole life, I think I've always been a maker, which just kind of naturally grew into studying design. I have a degree in clothing and textiles from college about 1 million years ago. And I didn't really go, I went into fashion after I graduated, but not in the way that I am now. It's more the retail side of things. And then I got married and moved around a lot with my husband's career. So that meant I had to sort of many times reinvent what I was going to do to keep those, that creative side of me going, because that was something that, you just can't turn that off. So whether it becomes a business or whether it is simply just a passion, I was always looking for that next thing as I found myself in a new place. So it wasn't until, well, I'm going to give away some of the answers to my our game we're going to play if I go too much into detail. But at any rate, I started, since I have that background in clothing and textile design, it was, no cheating. It was a real natural thing for me to connect the dots when I did learn how to hand knit, all circled all the way back to, along the way I had done graphic design as an art director, and I had done, just kind of as a hobby, done photography. So all of those things were sort of built into me at the point that I started knitting, and that was back in the early days of Ravelry. So I had nothing to lose but to just give it a shot, and so I started publishing. Yeah, and I didn't know, I took what I did very seriously, but I didn't really take the knitting industry all that seriously because I didn't know what the potential was until after I started doing it. But yeah,
neither did I.
It worked. It's worked out so far, and and now I'm really conscious of, okay, so what am I hoping to do? I still feel like I have more to learn and more to offer, so that I'm constantly trying to think, all right, in 2 to 5 years, what then? And then make what I'm doing now a reflection of that. So yeah. Let's play a game, because why not? I'm afraid that like the time's gonna go really fast and we won't get to it. So yes. Okay. So
Julie had this idea of make me play a game. I'm awful in playing games, so bear with me.
So this is sort of a get to know you game that I've played before, and it's a version of Never Never Have I Ever, if anyone's ever played that game, where you say never, never have I ever, and then you say a few things and people have to guess which one is correct. So what Paul and I are going to do a little get to know you game, and we're going to take turns giving some statements about ourselves with one of several answers, and one of them is either true or all of them are true and one of them is false. So are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. I can't wait to hear yours. Do you want to go first?
No.
Oh.
Okay. So you go
I'll
first.
start.
But we will give time. So we will not give the answers away. So you guys have time to guess together with us. And we
might ask you for your help to guess too. So
yes.
Okay.
And then we'll see. Okay. All right.
Okay. So I have only one allergy that I'm aware of. Which statement is true? I am allergic to shellfish. I'm allergic to yellow gold. I'm allergic to penicillin, or I'm allergic to bees. Which statement is true?
Bees, the animal bees?
Bees, like bees.
Okay. I think I've seen you eat fish, but not necessarily shellfish. Yellow gold, I never saw you wearing something gold. Somebody says bees.
A lot of people are saying bees.
Yellow gold, bees, or
yeah.
I would go
Penicillin.
penicillin. I would go with penicillin. Penicillin, because I'm allergic to that. So I'm just trying to, yeah.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
with that. Bees. Somebody says yellow golds and what bees. Okay, we will see. I say
Okay,
penicillin.
so should we say the answer?
Oh, okay.
I'll just do it. It'll be faster. I'm allergic to yellow gold.
Oh,
isn't that weird?
That was
yeah. I have a reaction.
A
skin reaction.
Oh, yeah. I did it. Yeah, I did say that I never saw you wearing gold.
Yeah,
so
I can wear white gold, just not yellow gold. Okay, your turn. Now
right,
I get to go.
Okay, I of these four,
bummer.
I've never done one.
Bummer.
Okay.
Of these four, if these four, you've never done one of them. Okay. Okay.
All right. Cried my way out to avoid a speed ticket.
Oh, cried to avoid a speed ticket.
Cried, yes. Cried my way out to avoid a speed ticket. Ridden an elephant.
Ridden on an elephant.
Had a paranormal experience. And re-gifted a wedding gift.
You've never done one of those things.
I have not done one of those things. Can you help, guys?
I think you've ridden on an elephant. So I'm not going to guess that one. Because I think there's a chance. do you think she's ridden an elephant? Okay.
What was the third one? The third one had a paranormal experience.
Right.
Okay, so I tell you what people say. Somebody says re-gifted, elephant.
I think I'm gonna say you've never had a paranormal experience.
Let people guess. Cried out to get tickets.
My second guess is that you've never re-gifted a wedding gift. Because you probably got good ones.
I actually never re-gifted.
Oh, so close.
But I had all of the others.
I get half a point for that one.
And that is a story for another time.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Somebody says cry. No, I did cry myself out to guess.
Yeah, no, I could see you doing that.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Okay, so I'll go next. So I can play several musical instruments. Which of these is not one that I play?
Okay.
Okay, I can play the flute. I can play the piano. I can play the violin. And I can play the guitar. Which one is not an instrument I play?
I can see you with the flute. I can just see you the Julie Hoover flute situation there in your house.
Maybe.
The piano is so classic. I don't know. The piano is so classic that I think somebody said to you that you have to play when you were young, and whether you liked it or not, I know that. I go with guitar.
That I don't play the guitar?
You don't play the guitar. Somebody says flute. Somebody
sure
says
about
piano.
That?
Guitar.
Final answer?
Final answer.
You were close. I don't play the violin.
Ah.
And truth be told, I'm not very good at playing the guitar. But okay, your turn. Try and stump me.
Okay, so I have never ever practiced at competitive level one of these activities.
Okay.
You see me now. You see none of. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Classical ballet, folk dancing, archery, or swimming.
You've never. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, I totally see you doing ballet.
Because I'm so slim.
Yes, exactly. Very elegant. Goes without saying. Competitive swim.
Somebody says Barbara. Oh, Barbara. Hi, Barbara. archery. Denise says swimming.
Yes, a lot of people are saying something. Archery. Is that an Italian thing? You grew up in Italy, right?
Yeah.
It's possible that, but competitive. That's the catch.
There's more swimming coming there. Folk
Yeah.
dancing. Folk dancing, Suellen says.
I think if you did ballet, there's a good chance you did folk dancing too.
Archery and swimming seems to be the two
Yeah.
people. Somebody says ballet. There's no way she did ballet.
Oh, that's tough. I'm kind of up in the air between archery and swimming.
Suellen says I've never heard of competitive folk dancing, for example. Kelly says ballet.
Yeah, but well, unless you were trying to throw me off, which I bet you are. Archery, swimming,
you
ballet.
wanted to play.
I know, but this is fun. Okay, I'm just gonna guess. I'm gonna say swimming.
Ah, you got it right.
Oh, yes. Yeah, because I was thinking, gosh, I bet she did. I bet she did. Yay! Okay, so 1 point for me.
Yeah. So a lot of people did guess it right. And,
yeah.
And yes, that's
Woo!
one. Yeah.
Okay, this is
Am
one
I winning?
that,
No.
it's my turn. What?
Okay. Am I winning yet? No.
I don't think you are yet. I've got 1 point.
And what do I win? If
I don't know. I'll buy you a drink next time I see you.
Okay.
Okay. I was adopted when I was 2 months old. Which statement is true? My birth name was Meadow.
What was that?
So what was my name at birth? Meadow, Starla, Harmony, or Saffron?
I was saying because of your age, and thinking about your, possibly when your parents were born or your, I would go with Saffron.
You got the first letter right. It was Starla.
Yeah.
I was born in the 60s, and my birth mother named me Starla before I was adopted. So.
But that's why I thought Saffron. About the Hare Krishna movement. And all of that, and that's right. So I'm on the third one, and I think that's the last one that I have.
Oh, okay.
So I have never traveled to this place.
Okay.
Morocco, Russia, Spain, or Indonesia?
I think you've probably been to Russia. Maybe. Yeah, I think you've been to Russia. Spain for sure. Morocco, high probability. In Indonesia.
I think your voice is going down. I think you have to speak.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm sort of whispering to myself. What do you think? Russia? Everyone thinks Russia?
Says Russia.
Grant, hi, Grant. My son is on
Somebody
here.
says Morocco.
Yeah. Morocco.
Spain. Russia.
Yeah, Russia.
Indonesia.
Ooh, Sarah thinks Indonesia. I'm going with Sarah. Indonesia.
Wrong.
For the win. Oh, what?
Of all these places, I've been to Russia, I've been to Morocco, I've been to Indonesia. I've never been to Spain. Would you believe my neighboring country? I've never been to Spain.
That's crazy.
Yeah, is it?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so last question for me, similar. Which of these places have I never lived? Alaska, Japan, Canada, or Germany?
Canada.
Oh, how did you know? That was too easy.
Sorry.
Okay, 1 point for you.
Sorry, I give it away too fast.
We ended in a tie.
I know your story. So I know Alaska, Japan, and Germany. I mean, you speak German. I know your fascination with Japan. You must have been there for a while. And Alaska, I think we talked about it. So
yeah. Everybody's getting it right.
Everybody says the same. Everybody. Yeah. You see, it was easy.
All right. So we're going to go to Spain together. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And
Oh,
talking about Spain, you were supposed to go to Spain for a retreat for our class,
yes,
yeah?
yes. In fact, I was supposed to land in Paris this very morning
Oh,
to see my, well, I was going to spend some time with my son who was supposed to be studying abroad there, and that got canceled. And then from there, I was going to just hop over to Spain to teach a workshop. But it's all, it's all just gone.
yeah.
So,
But it will
mm.
happen again.
But yeah, we'll just figure out,
Yeah,
how to stay alive and
yeah,
do it somewhat down the road. So
yeah.
yeah,
And we
yeah.
have some idea for next spring, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Are we allowed to say?
I think we are allowed to say.
Oh, go.
So
Okay,
what
go
we
for
are
it.
trying to, well, this is something that you hear before anybody else because it's not been announced, especially because of the current situation. And of course, we will have to figure out whether it's really feasible
Yes,
or
yes. We may have to retract everything.
yes, we might have to delete this part of the video. So Amy gets ready to delete this part. So we have actually, we have organized a retreat with Julie Hoover in Venice, Italy. Ta-da-da, ta-da-da. So the idea was to have a retreat next spring. So we have a year basically from now. April dates is beginning of April, just around before the Easter holiday. A lot of spring breaks here in the US should coincide with that period, and it will be 5 days of beautiful Julie coming with us to Murano on the island close to Venice. I know that Martina is one of the person that actually help us organize is online.
Yeah.
So and she has found this, she lives in Murano. She's found this beautiful location with us. So stay tuned. We don't have many spots available. So as soon as we launch it, we will let you know. It might be that we say, would you like to come with a, like a small deposit or something in case we need to cancel it. But,
right. We won't make them commit fully.
And you said you're
we know.
excited about it.
Oh my gosh, yes. I can't wait. It's hard to think about even tomorrow right now, but yes, let's hope it all works out.
Yeah. But we have big plans, like new
design. Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
It's going to be like, the Julie Hoover retreat. Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's I can't wait. Fingers crossed, everybody.
Yes. So stay tuned and make sure you sign up for our newsletters, both Julie's and ours, because subscribers will hear it before we post it on our social media. So that you feel you are to be more special if you are following us on the internet.
First come.
And you have other, you send out a newsletter today as well about.
Do you want? I can bring that up when we do the show and tell on the samples.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, all right.
I'll kind of save that for the end.
Somebody's watching away. Okay, so let's try to show some design. People will say like,
Mr. Whitekeys, swatching. Yes, swatching.
Yes, look at that. Searching in Murano. Yes. Searching. Yes. All right. So let's start with the first two designs that you have created for us.
Okay. I have to move my phone.
Let's hope we don't lose the connection.
Oh, I shouldn't.
No.
I shouldn't. That way you just don't have to hold it, Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the first, can you see me?
Okay, we can see you.
Okay, so the first piece I ever designed, well, these two, now it's been so many years, I don't remember which one came first, but I'll just show this one first. This is Piedmont or Piemonte.
Can you, because you only have half of the screen. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, sorry,
yeah.
it's backwards. So this is a softly cabled sweater that has a drop sleeve construction. And it's just in the Yak Medium, Baby Yak Medium. It's like all over cable repeat. I love it. It's soft and so easy to wear. For those of you who have not knitted with mYak yarn before, I'm going to get in close so that you can see without it getting distorted. But you will not find you will not find a single pill on any of the yak yarn at all. And I have worn this so many times. Just wanna say, like, that is a winner in my book.
And this sweater
super
has
high
been
on
so many trunk shows and
shows,
and it's been worn.
It could probably use a little bit a second blocking because it's sort of been hung on hangers and the neck's a little distorted. But the second one, I can't get far enough back. You can see the whole thing. But does that?
And this, so all of the design that we are showing are on Julie's website. Most of them. They are on Julie's website, and you can buy the pattern directly from Julie's website. And you can also go on our website where we have put together some kits to help you out with the sizing and everything else. And there is a link to either Julie or Ravelry or both for you to get that. Somebody, hi then, thank you for saying. mYak
It is
so
soft and it is durable. Totally.
And this is the first color that we did.
Yeah.
Which also inspired Kirsten Ford to do her color, because
her
that's the color
too.
that she really liked.
Yeah.
From when she started Woolfolk as well. So this is a burgundy, which is the color that you use, because we only had chocolate and burgundy when you really did.
Right. And I love a good warm purple, and this is just hits the mark. So then the second thing I did was I fell in love with the Yak Lace, because why not? I really like knitting on tiny needles, and I really like a lightweight knitted fabric. So the second one I did is called Veneto. Can you see? And this is just the most classic set-in sleeve sweater with a crew neckline. And then so the only thing that shines is the yarn and the little bit of shaping stitches. And then for fun, I added a bright section of color block. The
bright saffron that we have.
It's kind of fun.
And this is,
give it a little pop.
And I think you were the first one. So we use our lace weight, which is a 50 gram for 380 yards. So with one skein, you can do a lot. So we will talk more about this yarn. And you are the first one that used the lace weight held double, which gave us so many more possibilities for using our yarn. Because it becomes a wonderful fingering as well.
Right.
And
I'm a big fan of getting that large amount of yardage in a skein of lace, and it gives you all kinds of options to pair it with other yarns.
Colleen is asking, Veneto is Carlotta. Oh, hi,
yes.
Carlotta. Ciao, Carlotta. Carlotta is also online. Carlotta works with us, and she's going to type in the names of the pattern that we are talking about.
And Carlotta is spelling it correctly. Veneto.
Yeah.
It's if you go to my website, it's the only one remotely named that way, so you'll find it.
Yeah.
And then the same yarn.
Sorry, Julie, I'm just answering some of the question. Yes, we are able to ship to the States right now. Our mills is open. Most of the colors are back in stock. Just this color, the oatmeal, the natural oatmeal, is coming in probably early June. But most of the other colors are in stock. We have the mustard in stock. A lot of people want it. And I ship directly from New York. So I am in New York, and the rest of the team is in Italy. But I ship every week, not as often, but I ship not every day, but I ship once a week.
Yeah.
Is the lace weight?
Well, I saw two questions that scrolled up already. Yeah. One was, when you double, it depends on the yarn, but when you double lace, it falls in the range of fingering to a sport weight. I would put the Yak Lace closer to sport than fingering. So if you're knitting it with a pattern that calls for fingering weight, and you're trying to substitute two strands held together, you're going to get a more dense fabric. Even though you could possibly achieve the same gauge, it will have a little bit more dense of a stitch. It's wonderful. Like it's really, really perfect. And then I used this. Oh, there was a second question.
It was.
I don't remember what it was.
No, I think it was about.
No, it was before that. I can't.
Okay,
I can't
just.
I'm sorry. There had two questions. Are
you able to ship?
Oh yeah, the question was about marling. Yeah. So yes, it's a great opportunity to create your own marled effect, which we have done for my Dane cardigan that
I was
Paula will
actually
show you
going
in a
to,
minute.
yeah. So we will show we
Yeah.
will show that effect
So
with the
this
Dane.
is also the yak in the baby yak lace. Sorry, I've got so much sun on it.
That's okay.
This is really
Look at
hard to
that.
show these.
I have it
This
too.
is called Lucca, and it's just a very wide scarf or narrow wrap that you can drape. It has a very minimal diagonal lace pattern on it, which
It's so
I'm
light.
I'm not super into lace, but I
Yeah.
do love a good minimal unfussy lace. So
And we have done it with other colors.
that,
We have done it
yeah.
with the mustard. The mustard that we have this year is darker than this one. So, you know, also the light.
Oh, I bet it's beautiful
this
though.
is called the Lucca,
Lucca.
Lucca Scarf. And it only takes 3 skeins of the Baby Yak Lace or 3 skeins of a limited edition cafe latte that we will talk about in a minute. That is 50% Baby Yak and 50% cotton. Somebody is asking about the wash, how you soak it and wash it. Oh, that would be another full chat.
I know, right? You can just gently wash it in like you would almost any wool. It's very, very durable. Just put it in tepid water, let it soak in some soap, and then just gently wring out all the excess water and block it out like you normally would. Yeah, you don't have to treat it any more special than wool.
Somebody's going to knit it in saffron. Oh,
yeah.
and somebody has it on their needles. So it's popular. This has been one of the most popular since we launched it. It's been of your patterns in our yarn. It's been one of the most popular.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a funny story to that too, because I was. Okay. I'm still slightly embarrassed about this, but it had a happy ending.
The story from my side because so we had launched a few years back. We had launched, and we discussed it with other designers. We had launched a collection of pop color cashmere. It was like bright cashmere. It was like all, you know, like red and yellow and hot pink and blue. And we asked a few friends and designers whether they wanted to be on board with us to launch this collection, the Pop Colors collection. Remember Pop Colors, that's the name. And
that means really, really vibrant and bright.
Yes,
yeah.
Sarah says, I know the story. So we got Sarah Solomon on board, we got Julie Hoover on
Michelle
board,
Wong,
Kristen Kapoor, and they all got, you know, ready. They asked for yarn. You know, it was out of the comfort zone for Sarah as well. But everybody that put 100%, and they gave us this, you know, each one of them got beautiful design, colorful, and then Julie says, "Not sure about this." And I said, "What do you mean you're not sure about this? We are now closer to the deadline. What are you doing?" I'm doing a lace weight scarf, which is okay. I assume that. What colors have you used? Well, I didn't use all of them. And she said, "What color did you use?" "I just used the natural one." I said, "What do you mean the natural one?" "Yeah, I just used the natural one." I said, "What are the colors?" "No colors."
Well, I don't remember it quite that way. I think I was more like, "Paula, I've tried really, really hard. I just can't. I can't do it. So would you accept this, or should we, you know, just count me out and do this later?" And you were like, "Okay, I'll just put it in."
Yes, and actually,
I'm sorry, I just couldn't.
It was one of the most popular of your designs, you know. So it's everybody loved all of the other designs, pop color as well.
But it definitely wins the which one of these do not belong with the other contest.
I think maybe that should have been the pop quiz.
Oh well.
But
I tried.
But this is still a beautiful one. And we're going to do a giveaway about this one as well. So you have to stay tuned at the end of this chat, or make sure so that you look on our Instagram and our social media and newsletters as well for the announcement of a giveaway. So
okay, so I have a few more. This one is the the black yak that you sent me. And
I think you're against the light now.
yeah, it's doing funny things. This is really dark black. Let's put it up against me. Here we go. Yeah, I'm sorry, you won't be able to see this very well, but if you look up my Olson, Olson cardigan, it's on pearlsoho.com. The yak medium weight works perfectly as a yarn substitution for that. It is a dolman shaped cardigan sleeve with a modified 3-needle bind off exposed seam on the shoulder, and it's one of my all-time most worn sweaters ever. Again, not a single pill on this at all.
You do wear it a lot.
I do wear it a lot, yeah. I can't say that about a lot of my samples, but this one I can.
Yeah. And that was done with the medium weight.
Yes,
I think,
yes.
Was it black? You used the black, yeah?
I did use the black, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So you have many colors, but if you use a dark color like the black or the midnight blue or any of the dark colors, you can really put it on everything. I almost wanted to steal it from you. I know. When I saw you in New York wearing
good luck with that.
I'm
not giving that one up. I think I let you try it on.
I did,
and
yes.
On my needles right now is my Laurent scarf. It's been taking me a long time to finish this just because I keep having other things creeping in, but it's an all over cable, a beautiful cable motif. And this is the color Desert.
So you did it in the desert, yes. So you did it in
which
the
is
desert.
Which is really a color I love. Yeah.
Yeah, desert is one of the natural colors that we have together with the chocolate, the dark brown chocolate, and the oatmeal.
Right.
So this is the Laurent scarf is in Baby Yak Medium, yes. And they it's a great stitch definition. We have our sample. I mean, it's yours, but I have it.
Yeah, it's yours now.
Yeah.
And that was the desert sky. That's a beautiful blue.
In Tibetan sky.
Sorry,
the cables, I mean, Julie's cables are like so gorgeous. When we saw this, it was wonderful. And you made 2 versions of this.
The scarf's name is Laurent, Laurent.
Laurent, no, Lucca. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, and again, both on website and on our website.
Right. You can get the pattern on my website and the kit.
If you just go on the kit, you will see on the scarf, you have all the scarf and the sweaters, and they are on top right now, so you will see them.
And I think you can knit that in 6, it takes 6 skeins of the medium.
Yes.
For that.
So if you see the back of the, and what I was going to say, you made 2 versions of this, one with the medium.
Oh, right.
And one that is
chunky
or longer, can't remember, with the Baby Yak chunky, which we had at the time, and you made a version in chocolate that was gorgeous.
Right, the scale of the pattern becomes wider, and then I shortened it for more of a wrap.
And that one was beautiful too. I didn't bring it
really
today,
is.
But we still have some of the natural chocolate in the chunky, which is on super sale on the website, and that would be a great way to make this scarf with very little money, really.
Yeah, and there are photographs of the chunky chocolate on the pattern page.
Yes, and you actually get both. When you have the pattern, you get both. Yeah, both the chunky version and the medium version.
Right.
So it's still. I love the scarf too, but Baby Yak Chunky is discontinued. Yes, but the chocolate is still available. So if you love a natural chocolate, we still have some, and it's on sale on the website and for really, really, really cheap price. So, just go on the special or others. I think that's what it is. So,
did you have something you want to show before I talk about the Tibetan cloth?
Oh yeah, I have Hatcher.
Oh yeah.
So Hatcher was not originally made with our yarn.
Nope.
I don't remember. Was it Woolfolk? I don't remember. But
nope. That was Northlight Fibers.
Oh yeah.
Water Street.
So this was one of the short sleeves pullover that I love for long time. And I kept saying, can we have it? Can I make a sample? Can I have a sample knitted?
Yeah.
And Julie said, no, you don't really have the yarn.
You just didn't have the right weight. Yeah.
I have the right weight. I made the right weight.
Just to make your hatcher.
Just to make the hatcher. To make the hatcher and a couple of other things.
Yeah.
I kept seeing things that
it turned out so pretty.
And so this is hatcher, Hatcher.
Yeah. And I just overhauled that pattern with additional size, an extra three or four sizes. And I also reorganized it so that the sleeves, originally the pattern was only published as short sleeves.
Right.
And I had an addendum for 3/4 and full length sleeves. So that's now in the main pattern. And I also wrote the chart out. So it's charted and written instructions for the cable pattern. So it's kind of
And we actually put it up, all of the new sizing that you did on the website.
Thank you, Mama Beardford.
Oh, she just bought a pattern yesterday.
Or Mama Bearford. Said that wrong, I'm sorry.
Oh, Mama Bearford, yes. And we knit that one in
Thanks,
cloud,
Kelly.
which is, so this is our DK weight, in different colors. I promised myself not to show any pink today. I really,
in honor of me.
So I'm like, I'm wearing a blue dress.
Thank you for that.
Picking out blue, maybe more like neutrals, things like that.
Yeah.
But this will be, the Salice Grigio, anything it should be. Yeah. And so that we have 10 minutes left.
Okay.
So what, if we don't have enough time, what we will do, we could always come back.
Okay.
If people want to hear more from us, we can always, I can always start.
Let me get my last thing done, and then you can just take over the rest.
Okay.
So if anyone's on my email list, you've already heard this story this morning. I have 23 Sweater Club patterns that I held back from last fall to take to an event that is now canceled. So, as we're making decisions about what to do with everything that's upside down right now, I decided that I would go ahead and put those patterns on my website to sell as Sweater Club kits. I've broken the patterns up individually, so unlike Sweater Club, you don't get both patterns. You get to choose which pattern you want on this one, so one or the other. But they're all up on my website in the project kits section, so you can look for that in the navigation and find them. They're up at the top. I only have 23 of each pattern, so if you missed out or want to grab one that you didn't get last time, or if you didn't join at all, you have the opportunity now while they last. So I'll just quickly show those. So you were so gracious when you told me about the wool. I think you already had hoped that I would say yes, but I was ready to dive into that. As soon as I saw it, I knew I had to do Sweater Club in that yarn because it's so amazing. I mean, I love a good soft wool, of course, but I love the way that it's milled in that low twist. It makes the most amazingly supple fabric that, only certain wool can achieve that. And I think you really nailed that. So I have two patterns from Sweater Club. One is called the Pearson cardigan. And I know this is hard to see, but this has a big raglan, beautiful raglan shaping. You see the stitches?
And that one is in Cannella.
This is Cannella. Yep.
Yeah.
And then it has just one single button on the front, button closure. So that's the first pattern. Here it is in Salice Grigio.
So Salice Grigio is the gray,
it's the gray blue. Yeah, it's probably reading more blue on the camera, but
I think I would say, yeah.
It is a good mix between gray and blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very pretty color.
Yeah.
So is the Cannella too.
Yeah. And it's available. I think people can choose the color that they want to. They don't have limitations.
Yeah, I listed the ones I originally did with photos, and then I have a shade card with the colors they can substitute.
Right.
So full spectrum on that.
Yeah.
You just have to.
And feel free to reach out to us if you're not sure what color you want and the shade card is not enough. what I do normally when I am in the showroom, you can always make a phone appointment or like video appointment with me, and I can show you colors in the light. So I do this, I do that, so that you can actually see them better. But this is a unique opportunity because you run out. I mean, you
try to get out of the light a little.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you sold out of those sweater clubs so quickly. That is incredible that you had some left.
Yeah, it is kind of fun. I mean, I'll release the patterns digitally in September as I'd always planned, but this is just sort of like a small revival. So it'll be fun to give those out to good homes. So this is the pullover from the Sweater Club, and this is called Keller. This is a half twisted rib stitch all over fabric that has very minimal shaping, because I see a lot of these ribbed pullovers that have shaping, turning every direction, and I wanted to take the opposite approach on that and do something that felt more minimal and less all about the traveling decreases. So this one is knit in pieces like almost everything I design, and it seams up beautifully. Can wear it, has a nice, it just has a nice slightly over the shoulder fit on the sleeve. Even though it looks like a drop shoulder, it's actually constructed more like a set-in sleeve. So it's gonna stay.
The color is Ginepro.
Yes, this is Ginepro.
Yeah.
And here's the same sweater in Wild Daisy.
So somehow I didn't have the skin of Ginepro here with me, but that's in Wild Daisy. So that's the natural Tibetan cloud.
This is undyed.
Undyed, yes.
Here's a close-up of the stitch.
Greenish.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. And somebody was asking, sorry, 1 second, somebody missed the color of Hatcher that we had. I think the color that we had was Ginestra. But everything is on the website. Just check it out.
So that's it. I'm done with my show and tell. Oh, except you have some that I have some print outs for.
The Dream. This is a sweater, pullover, cardigan made in heaven, which is your Dane, which is something else that I've been dreamed of to make for a long time. And again, I had one of your wonderful sample knitter. It was not Yvonne, it was
oh gosh, I think
the other one. Sorry for forgot.
Oh,
and
I can't remember who knitted
this is a Dane, and we use the lace and oatmeal and
Elke knitted that. Elke.
Yes.
Sorry. I have to give her credit because man, she pulled that off fast.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
And it's 4 strands, so 2 and 2.
Right.
So talking about
the morals, create your own morals.
I mean, everything about the line of, look at the details that you see on this, and you can see beautiful photos. I'm knitting that now in Midnight Blue and Lazy Day. There you go.
Oh,
it's
nice.
Stunning. I'm racing. Then in Baby Yak Lace is, I actually did wear this a lot this winter as well.
Hi, Anne from Monarch.
And I sent it off. Oh, that was Anne, yeah.
Oh, and Linda's on here too. Hi, Linda.
To Monarch Knitting in California for Stitches West. And then I saw that people were trying on, and I was like, oh, no, please send
No, that's mine, yeah. Don't touch.
But it's really gorgeous. It's absolutely.
Yeah. And the sleeves are meant to be turned up, although they're cozy when they're long, though.
Yeah, I know. I just love them long as well.
Yeah.
But it's so comfortable. And the amazing thing is that it's so light, with 4 strands, but still it's so light. Can you
it's
suggest
just the right weight, I think.
So somebody's asking for suggestion. Bear with me, Julie, because it's going to go on a pink side.
Well, will it cut us off if we go past?
No.
Oh, okay.
It will cut us off, but we can do this. So okay. I won't tell what other pattern this is, but we did this. Another, can you see? This is nice.
Oh, you marled that as well? Yeah, that looks beautiful.
And dusty pink. So that would be one choice. Midnight Blue, Petrol, one choice. Canyon and Oatmeal, or Night Flower, which is this. Night Flower, you see. Of course, we'll have to go. Night Flower, and dusty pink. That would be
Yeah.
another
We should swatch up some combinations and photograph them so people can see what they look like. And you don't have to only pick 2. You could combine 4 that are in the same. I wouldn't do that with contrasting colors. I would do it in the same family, like
in the same family.
All the 4 neutrals or 4 really dark, from black to navy or to a lighter blue.
Moss and urban nature. That's a beautiful. Yes,
that's a good idea.
Thank you for suggesting that.
You could do oatmeal, desert. What's the next one?
Chocolate, maybe then.
Chocolate. Isn't there one sort of? Is there something in there that's in between there? I can't remember.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, lots of potential.
Somebody says yes to swatches.
Yes to 4. Yes to swatches.
Just one chat about swatches, but now I want to amaze you and the people watching.
Okay, I'm ready.
I found it. So people say that I don't need sweaters. It's true, I don't. But I make some exceptions. And your Gouda is an exception. Do you have this? Do you have the printed pattern of Gouda there?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I have to go back.
So while...
So I'm just going to go back to my table because the light is, sun is hitting me in the face. No, it's okay.
Okay. It's very difficult for me to knit sweaters, but first you should show the picture if you have it.
I do.
Good is one of my favorites. It's one of my personal favorite. Perfect for summer, easy and you know, lightweight, and it's good with the fingering. So
here's how you spell it: Goode.
And sorry again, it's pink.
Oh no. Oh, is that the marls? You're doing them. Oh, that's beautiful.
No, it's not. It just with the silk, Baby Yak silk. Look how far it went.
Oh, it's so pretty. Did you personally do that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's a miracle. It's a miracle.
You know, and as somebody
everybody give her a round of applause. That is amazing. Oh, you started using stitch markers. Good.
Yes. I think Amy had helped me with those. But anyway, it's look at that. It's
gonna be amazing.
And this is done with the Baby Yak silk. So for the people out there that says Paola is not knitting sweaters, how can Paola doesn't knit sweaters? I'm going to prove you wrong. And I have little colors that you can choose from. This is the Baby Yak silk, and any colors. Let's take this one off.
Any colors except for this one.
And so
I've swatched with that yarn yet, but it hasn't become it. As long as it stays in your lineup, I'll eventually get to that because that's lovely. That's a really lovely yarn.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, the time went so fast. We really didn't talk about much else.
I know, when you have this one knitted up too.
Oh yes, and that one, unfortunately, I don't have the sample, but we knit this one, and a friend of mine knitted for me, and you can see a funny picture of me if you go on our website, and this is pronounced Holly.
Holly, Hawley.
And we knit ours in, you will see it on the website, on
in
the peony,
in
the Tibetan cloud, but any color. I mean, think about, you know, look at this, or the canela, any color would be beautiful for that particular one. The stitch definition, and those cables are amazing.
Yeah.
Really nice, nice cables. The giveaway.
Right.
So we are going to post it shortly on our Instagram and eventually on YouTube. This chat will be recorded on both IGTV and YouTube as well. So follow us here and on YouTube if you can. The YouTube channel is mYak Tibetan Fibers. We just started. And I'm going to go live on Monday on my own to talk about different things. If you want to mark it down, just from the showroom to show a few things and remind people about our appointments. And we will do a giveaway for the Lucca Scarf in a limited edition cafe latte. So we get 3 skeins to make a beautiful and a pattern.
I just wanted to tell you thank you for making this so easy for me. Yeah, it's been fun.
Good. I know you were a bit nervous about it, but so
well, I'm
nervous all the time.
Not talking to you nervous, just the
the
people
idea
listening,
of doing
it's
this.
a strange
Yeah,
thing,
but we
feeling.
have
So
people joining back in. So do you want to
yeah,
say a
no,
little bit
right.
more?
Yeah, sure, why not?
So you love swatches. You love swatching.
Oh,
You do
I
like
have
a
a
full,
few. I
uh,
mean,
full drawers of swatches.
these are
Look
just
at that.
a few.
Yeah,
I mean, these are my early swatches.
and you're so
These are
organized,
Sweater Club.
beautifully organized.
Well,
Let's talk more a little bit about your
I
design.
have to be.
I think, people are very much interested in your design process, and we didn't really have the time to go into it. You say swatching, we don't have to talk for hours, but you say swatching is really the beginning of your design process. But you start with the fiber, with the yarn, or a design, and then you look for the yarn?
Oh, 99.9% of the time, I always start with the fabrication. So I have yarn in my hands and I begin making fabric with it. I'm not thinking about what that will become at all at that point. I'm thinking about what are the characteristics of this yarn on this needle size in this stitch pattern. How does it behave? And then if it's, especially if it's a yarn I haven't used before, I need to know what's the range of that yarn. So I'll change needle sizes and do the same stitch pattern in multiple needle sizes. I wash and block on my swatches so I see what the finished fabric's like. And then, at some point I start to get excited about a stitch pattern or, or let's say, so I might think of a new idea at that point, or I might have already kind of thought of an idea independently where all of a sudden a light goes off and I think this is the perfect fabric for that idea. So until that marriage happens, there's only swatching going on, and then independently I have a sketchbook that I keep silhouettes and shapes and construction ideas in. So yeah, until I feel kind of passionate about something, I'm not pressuring myself to design anything from it.
And you would say that sweaters are your favorite things to design, or?
Yeah, I think that's my comfort zone, is a really well-fitting classic wardrobe staple.
And elegant,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, yeah. So, something that you're gonna spend a lot of time and invest a lot of money in should be, something that's gonna be worthy of staying in your closet for, your whole life. It's possible. So,
but that's why I think it's important when people choose your design, well, any design in general, but if they want, because it's your design is done, your pattern, your charts is done to perfection. You put a lot of time and a lot of effort to have everything done to really, really, and they're so easy to follow, easy to work with. Your sweaters are all made in pieces, which these days is sort of the uncommon way of doing things. I mean, a lot of people are doing the top down or the bottom up, circle or everything, and then in a week you make it in pieces, which makes it, I don't know, it just everything is beautiful, of course, I would say, but it makes it more detailed and people have to pay more attention, I feel. Way.
And a lot of that, well, there's a lot of reasons why I'm not a fan of top-down circular. I mean, the list is pretty long. First out of the gate for me is I top down, there would have to be a reason for me to turn my stitches upside down there's no other way to achieve that. I always prefer the look of shaping using decreases over increases, at least the ones that are going to be most visible. I think decreases just are more attractive. I also, even backing up from, further before talking about shaping, is the opportunities you have for multiple techniques to casting on. Typically your cuff edge or your hem edge will be potentially starts with some ribbing or something, and that is generally an unfinished edge, and I would much rather see a beautiful cast on edge there than a bind off edge. You're limited with what you can do with binding off. So yeah, that's why. I mean, those are just a few where, like once you check those boxes, there's no further discussion. As far as piecing versus circular for me is, you have to kind of think about the yarn itself. There's a balance to working back and forth in a fabric that isn't quite the same as only working in one direction. The yarn, and every yarn is slightly different, but most yarn has a certain amount of twist in it, and you're only accentuating the twist of that yarn by going one direction. Some yarns will start to, when the garment's finished, it will start to tornado when it's worn. It's hard to identify where are the sides to the sweater, or you know, I think there's reasons to use circular. Certainly if you're doing a color work, a traditional color work, like a yoke sweater, well, of course, that's been done like that for centuries, and you kind of forgive the fact that it's not seamed. Right. Although I would argue you could still do it in pieces and steek it and seam it, but you know, for when it comes to that, I think then you're more of a knitter who's really enjoying just the process of knitting that versus the fact that, you know, it may not hold its shape, or it may tornado a little. You're willing to forgive that over the joy you had knitting it circular, because it's the most easy way to do that. Yeah, it goes way back to my clothing design background. I learned to sew first. I learned garment construction from the sewing side, and you know, so all of the shapes and all of my sweaters are pieced in a way that I understand. You know, I can control where those seams are. I can control all kinds of things and introduce all kinds of things when you knit in pieces, and you can take advantage of seaming things as a design element as well. That doesn't, I mean, you can kind of try to fake that after the fact. If you've knit something circular, you can add a fake seam, or you can go in and mattress stitch up 2 stitches and, you know, and do a seam afterwards. But I mean, that takes just as much time as seaming it in the first place. So why, I don't know. I mean, people will go to the most amazing lengths to avoid seams that I just kind of scratch my head about, like, well, all the time it took you to do that, you could have seamed it already. So
I guess.
I think the best, what gives me joy is when I hear knitters say, you know, your sweater was the first sweater I ever knit in pieces and seamed, and now I get it. Not to say they won't go back to knitting seamless, which is fine, they can do that, but I do recommend that everyone who thinks they don't want to knit a seam sweater should just make some swatches, practice, you know, the most common seaming techniques on squares first, so you feel comfortable, and then, you know, then graduate to seaming a sweater. The other thing that I recommend to make seaming more fun and more enjoyable is to always wash your pieces and put blocking wires in every single edge to put even tension on your fabric as it's drying. It's much easier to shape to the correct dimensions when you use blocking wires, and it makes your edge very straight so that it's not curling. I mean, you're trying to sew 2 pieces of fabric together that are curled back. You're constantly fighting with that fabric to figure out where your sewing needle's supposed to go. So
definitely a convert to seam sweaters because of Julie.
Oh, so. Good, yay!
So you know that.
That's great.
Now, talking about pullover versus cardigan, do you have a preference?
Of what I want to design or what I want to wear?
Both.
I think I always think of pullovers before I think of cardigans, as far as just where I get excited about something. I definitely have more sketches of pullovers.
Okay.
But as far as wearing, I think it depends on the time of year. I'm in menopause now, so I definitely get the cardigan because I'm
Cardigan.
constantly putting it on and off. It's a lot easier than stripping down off of
Yes.
a pullover.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I don't, I'm kind of equal opportunity when it comes to that. I like them both. Yeah.
And scarves. And I will not say shawl.
Scarves. Oh, I don't have a problem with rectangular shawls. I
Oh
just don't
yes,
understand.
I
I just
guess for me
don't.
that's
I
a
still have
rectangle
never
is
figured out how to
fine.
wear a triangle. I'm just,
Yeah.
is it a
But
bib? Is
yeah,
it a, I don't know.
no, I've never seen
I
you
get, they're
actually pretend.
beautiful when they're photographed, on the wall and
Yes.
hanging. They're beautiful. I understand.
Maybe
And
I
you,
will
and they're
challenge you.
fun.
Maybe I will challenge you one day
I
to
made one triangle shawl and I'm done.
never say never.
Oh,
You
I
know,
did it. I did it. And then I immediately said, well, now I can use the stitch pattern and make a rectangle and put it on a rectangle. So
yes.
that pattern has two rectangle
Yeah.
shapes as well. So
I love rectangular
I'm
shawl.
hopeless. Yeah.
It's
And there's a million triangle
it's a
shells
yeah,
done beautifully. So
they're beautiful.
I don't
Yes.
need to enter that
You're
race.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you also love cooking a lot, yeah?
I do. Because I love to eat.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Oh gosh. I love simple pastas. Not the tomato saucy kind, the olive oil and vegetable kind. I also like making things like stews and soups.
Mm.
Like an Italian style cannellini bean soup or something. What else do I like? I like cooking breakfast.
Oh, nice.
Frittatas or even my family would not complain at all if I were to make buttermilk pancakes for every meal every day.
Oh, I wouldn't complain either. I
They
mean,
and my dog, he's like, what? Give me one. He starts coming in like, hey, I smell the pancake.
yeah, I wouldn't complain
Yeah,
at all. I could do that
yeah,
one right now. It's tea time, so
yeah.
okay. Do
I
you
do
bake bread?
I've baked bread, but it's so time consuming and I don't know. I'm not passionate about it. I love to eat bread, but I don't. No, I don't really bake bread. I'll bake cakes and cookies
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff like that.
And
But
somebody says that you're a really good teacher. We know that.
you will
Yeah.
swatch. Yay! Only knit
And
pearl.
somebody, yeah. I think for me, one of the most amazing, was more like a chat. It was not really a class that we did together. Was about swatching, and I think if
Oh
anybody
yeah,
has
everyone's
knitting
jaws are on the
homework,
table.
I'm not saying swatch, but watch Julie swatch it.
No, swatching for those who haven't had this epiphany yet. Swatching is such a small amount of time you can spend to give you all kinds of valuable information. I think knitters just get really excited about casting on for their project and they think, oh, we'll see how it goes. I'll check. If I'm close, I'll just keep going. But you can really hone in on needle size much more than you think you can and you'll get that if you've just tried swatching.
Right.
And always wash and block your swatch before and make a big enough swatch for heaven's sake to create fabric, not little postage stamp size one.
Yeah.
And you have to take that fabric off the needle, you have to wash it, you have to block it. And the blocking process of a swatch, you can manipulate your fabric in length or width to achieve a gauge that if you just had plopped your swatch midway down and tried to measure with a measuring tape, you're just measuring fabric that's just off the needles. That's sort of a working ballpark. But there's any number of, if you stretch your swatch, you're going to have more stitches per inch. If you stretch your swatch widthwise, you're going to have more rows per inch. So, if you have one or the other happening in your unfinished fabric, then by washing and blocking and letting it dry, you can you can manipulate it to achieve a totally different result. So, and you know, if one or the other, if both are off, then obviously you have to change needle sizes. But, you know, anyway, that's a whole nother hour.
Julie, I'm afraid I have to stop the conversation
Okay.
because my daughter has a piano lesson.
Oh, is Anastasia there with you?
Yes, she's in the other
Hi.
room.
Oh, okay. Tell her I said hi.
A piano lesson, unless everybody wants to hear that. And
well, I don't mind.
there was a question, when you use blocking wires, I don't know if we can answer quickly, what is the ratio of stitches would you recommend to pass the wire through?
Okay, so I would recommend a no ratio. I would put the wire in every stitch you possibly can. So on a knit stitch, you want to put it in through one leg of every stitch across the horizontal. And on the vertical edge, you want to put it in kind of an under-over fashion of the leg that's between the stitch and its adjacent stitch, the edge stitch and its adjacent stitch. So there, if you pull the fabric apart a little, you'll see the legs going. You want to go over, under, all the way up the vertical edge. Okay. That'll give you the most even tension.
That's
all
it.
Right.
Well, we will not be cut off to say our goodbyes.
Yeah, no, that was too abrupt. I felt like rudely slapped in the face goodbye. So now I can say mwah, mwah.
Yeah, and thank you everybody. Thank you for watching the first time. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for watching.
And thank you for the future people that will watch this that missed it live. So.
Yes, again. Yes. Yeah. All right. Have a wonderful afternoon. Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you all so very much for watching us. See you at the next episode.